Hi, I'm Kushan Mitra and I'm in Mumbai right now for the launch of the Tata Curvv, both in EV and ICE models. ICE being internal combustion engine. Behind me is the first launch model, the Tata Curvv.EV. This is Tata's first new car in over 3 years since the Punch. And it comes at a very strange time for Tata Motors. Sales the last few months have been dropping after explosive growth in the post-COVID era. I speak with Shailesh Chandra, Managing Director of Tata Motor Passenger Cars, to find out more about this car and the overall market situation for passenger vehicles in India. Keep watching. So I'm sitting with Shailesh Chandra, the Managing Director of Tata Motors Cars, and the pricing of the EV is spectacular. Prices start at 17.49 lakhs, going up to 21.99, and with the 5% GST on EVs and lack of registration charges in some states, your on-road price is less than some top models of cars in the C segment. So you, as you said on stage, you believe this has cracked that, apprehension of the capital expenditure many people have against EVs. So do you think that will persuade more private buyers to go in for EVs?
Yeah, see, the idea was to bring price parity also at a level of battery pack that takes care of the range anxiety also. Because see, price parity we could have brought even with a lower range car, right? But the idea is that how you make an electric vehicle which is not only good for a city car, but also can go on highways, because 85% of the intercity drives in the country is less than 400 kilometers. So resolving this range anxiety issue of giving a car which is 400 plus and also trying to see that there is a price parity that you achieve versus the automatic in the same segment, I think that is for the first time which has happened.
Right? So you've done price parity, which deals with the capital expenditure part, as well as giving
the range which is comfortable and takes care of the range anxiety, right? As a combination.
Now, one issue some EV owners have told me in the past, and these are across brands, is that there are not enough high-speed chargers on the highways. Correct. Do you see that issue resolving in the next couple of years? This car, as was pointed out, can charge at 1.2C, which means you can have 120, 140 kilowatt charging as well. So,
one, that this car would hardly need a charger in between, because as I said, that the statistic shows that median intercity drive is only 180 kilometer, but 85% of the cases it is less than 400 kilometer. So possibly on the highway you might not need it. Within the city, you typically charge your car at home or office. Yeah. These are the places. So you don't need a public charger. But over a period of time, rest of the cars would still need, which are, less than 400 kilometer range. All the other cars which are in the market.
Including your cars.
Including our cars, I'm saying. We are the 70% market, so it is our cars. And therefore, we have tried to bring cars at different price points. So every car has not been able to get this kind of a range, right? An 8 lakh car, of course, can't get this kind of a range.
Your Tiago.
But at least it serves as a very good city car. Therefore, charging infra, if you see, every day the charging infra situation is improving. As I said, that there was a time when there were few hundred chargers, public chargers. Today, you are in a situation that you have 15,000 plus chargers in the country. Hopefully, we should be able to cross maybe 25,000 by the end of this year.
Wow.
In H2 of last financial year, if you compare with H1 of last financial year, the number of chargers which were installed was double what it was in H1. On top of that, I am also seeing the government is also now focusing on seeing how charging infra can be supported. So fast forward 2-3 years down the line, the situation will be much better than what we are seeing today.
Today you also showcased the internal combustion engine version of this car. I mean, the Curvv, when we first saw prototype images a few years ago, we thought it would be an ICE, EV only car. You're also doing a petrol, a diesel, maybe even a CNG one day. So is that hedging your bets, or is that because consumers, you think you want to give consumers choice?
No, see, actually it started as a concept only for EVs when we were conceiving. And the design kept evolving because it goes through its iteration of what is that sweet spot where all of us feel that it would just make sense. Also testing through customer clinics and all. Then we said, this car really looks good. Coupe is coming for the first time in the country. And there is a larger part of the market and customers who are still not crossing the fence for electric. Why you would devoid those customers of such a beautiful body style, right? And therefore, that is when we thought that let us also bring, although on a separate platform, this was on a pure EV platform, the Curvv EV, but also on the Atlas platform, which we launched today, which is the ICE platform, come with a similar top hat.
So the exterior design is the same, but the...
So definitely it was an afterthought after the EV got developed, and when we saw the aesthetic appeal of the coupe body style.
Shailesh, the last few months, Tata Motors has seen sales drop a bit. I mean, this is after the explosive growth you had in the post-COVID environment. You know, you were challenging for the number 2 spot several months. Why do you see that happening? Of course, I mean, some of your products at the punch are still punching above their weight, so to speak. But in some of your other bigger products, you've not had the sales numbers you showed last year.
It's actually just contrary of what you said, because the industry has dropped. Possibly you're referring to the wholesale number, which we don't regard. We regard only Vahan, right? Because that is the real sale.
So what the numbers FADA gives out?
FADA numbers, which is referring to the Vahan number, is the real number for us. Because that is what the ultimate sale is happening. We are absolutely rock solid at a 13.8 market share. So the overall registration might have dropped for the industry, and therefore you see the volume dropping with respect. But we immediately adjust our wholesale to that so that we don't create a stock situation.
And
so I have sacrificed on the offtakes wholesale to not come to an unsustainable level.
So your dealers,
I am reducing my wholesale market share will be lower as compared to my retail, but that's the real reference, and therefore we are sticking to that. Rather, products are really doing great. I mean, Punch has been number 1 in this financial year, top selling SUV. Nexon is doing great. Harrier Safari went up significantly in the last month. All our products are doing good. The hatches are the only ones which are under stress in the segment, but that is for the entire industry.
So you are keeping your wholesales lower, so you're adjusting your production, and
yes,
so your dealers aren't under stress.
We are pivoting ourselves to our market position based on Vahan. So that is
you see sales and then you adjust your production accordingly, and you don't put, because there are also stories about how dealers are under immense stress right now with huge amounts of stock. So that's a challenge dealers are facing. But how do you see this product? You're entering the highly competitive and profitable also C segment SUV.
I think this segment is the second fastest growing, I would say, after the subcompact SUV, which is the Punch segment. And therefore, positioning a product in this segment actually fills the portfolio gap that we had between, say, a Nexon and a Harrier Safari. So therefore, it brings continuity for our customers also. And we expect that with a clutter breaking design, there will be good acceptance of this product. And therefore, it should help us grow in this segment.
Now, one thing Tata Motors has been doing with their products, and I've noticed it with the cars I've driven also recently, is that you are putting a lot of gadgets and gizmos in your car. This time you have ambient lights in your car as well around the sunroof. Do you think the Indian buyer is a very gizmo-obsessed buyer, at least the younger Indian buyer, the millennial and now the Gen Z buyer? Would he or she, are gizmos vital for them?
It's globally true. It is more true for India. Why it is more true for India? Because the average age of buyers are less. 65% of the buyers are less than 35 years. And the obsession that this generation has with the gadgets. It is, by the way, true for generation, we are also, everybody, likes now gadget and all, and therefore it's pretty much a part of the overall lifestyle.
So that's why arcade EV and all of that you've been doing.
Correct. So therefore, car has to be imagined as a gadget because it's becoming pretty much a mobile on wheels, right? It will be similar to mobile world or software defined vehicle. So therefore, people should have a similar kind of experience at home, office, and the link in between the two, which is the car, right? It should make them remain connected. It should give the ambience which is as good as a home, right? So therefore, this is a part and parcel of the new lifestyle.
One thing I did notice, and I was driving the Harrier recently, and that is you've integrated maps into your instrument cluster for Apple Maps or Apple CarPlay and Google Maps, Android Auto. The only non-luxury car maker to do this. How closely do you work with Apple and Google on integration and, as you said, software-defined vehicles? And of course, you do so much with your own system as well. So
I think my CTO will be able to better talk about it. But yes, there has been very intense working between our electronics and electrical architecture department with these entities. And yes, we had taken that ambition. A lot of learning comes from JLR also. So that's how we came with these features.
One last question now, coming back to the market. Sales have softened this past. I mean, again, spectacular growth in 22 and 23 for the industry. 22 was catching up, 23 is spectacular numbers. Is this cyclical? Is this, just people are also hedging? And how much would you put that down to people also being concerned about multiple drivetrain technologies right now? So, you have EVs, obviously, you have ICE, you have also strong hybrids, you have a lot more CNG options. So are people also confused? You think the buyers confused also about what is going to take off, what is not going to take off, and they are hedging?
Okay, so two parts to the question. Let me deal with first the overall growth and all that we are seeing. See, last 4 years, the growth has been 50% of where the industry was 4 years back, from a 2.7 billion to 4.2. So generally, you see a secular growth trend in the PV industry very close to the GDP growth, which is 6 to 7%. So it should have been in that zone. The steep growth because of COVID and the money that was at disposal with people and the uncertainty that people had in mind that public transport is not available, the fleet is also not available, the e-mobility operators. So you need to have a car if something happens in the COVID period. A lot of things led to significant growth in cars because there was a lot of disposable money which was being directed towards that. That is also true for most of the retail companies, right? There was supposed to be a moderation. But industry has grown from a 2.7 million to 4.2. It's a very high level of demand. And even if industry is able to sustain this for this year, it is, I would say, good.
So even if you have 0% this year, or 0, 1 or 2%.
Even, a less than 5% growth, but growth, that's more important. It should be fine. I would say that the inquiry levels have been holding strong. So I see that as positive. The larger retail industry is also in the same situation. But broadly, if you see, none of the macro indicators are showing anything which is alarming. GDP growth, not alarming. Inflation, not alarming. Interest rates, not alarming. So monsoon, good. Rural, doing good. I don't see any major alarm that should caution us, right? And therefore, I believe that with the onset of festive season and all, things should improve. And this H2 should support the industry in terms of growth. Although H2 of last year was also a pretty high base.
So this is the base effect also playing?
A lot of base effect also is playing a lot. So that's the answer to your first part.
Yeah.
The second part was, if you can just refresh.
About the drivetrain.
More in terms of multiple drivetrain, I think, that can become a problem of plenty, but I think customers are very, very clear in terms of their choice. An electric vehicle buyer is an electric vehicle buyer. A CNG buyer is a CNG buyer, right? So we see as plethora of choices seeing from outside, but customer is not that confused, is what I feel. Yes, there can be slight here and there for new technologies, but people who have understood what this technology is and have been over a period of time thinking of moving to that, do move, right? So therefore, I don't see it's a big problem that we are seeing, that people are confused. I have seen diesel lovers buying diesel. I've seen CNG people, they are very obsessed with running cost and they buy a CNG. A petrol is comfortable because they have seen petrol cars from the past, they have seen their neighbor and all. So I believe that it's not something which I'm seeing as a big problem emerging in front of the customer and that being the reason impacting the growth. I don't see a correlation. That's my at least point of view.
Thank you, Shailesh. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
So as you heard Shailesh over there, he really expects the Curvv to do very, very well in the market and Tata Motors to have their sales go back up again. I can't wait to drive this car. I'm driving it in a couple of days. Do be sure to watch the review video, which is going to be out after the embargo lifts. Thank you for watching this on ThePrint. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you're not subscribed so far and press the bell icon. ThePrint has awesome videos every single day on a whole variety of topics from science, national security, politics, sport, and much, much more. This is Kushan Mitra saying thank you.